Oh, inspired thinker. I am back in your inbox to talk about this experience I'm having in real time over this summer that I'm calling the release, reset, and reimagine. And actually, from the moment I kind of identified these three different phases, uh, they've just been showing up more and more. And so I've found it to actually be a really helpful framework. So I'm really excited to share the reset phase with you today. This summer has been a summer of reset that I didn't know I needed. I think it really started after we unplugged during our family vacation on Nootka Island. So 6 days in nature, no Wi-Fi, no phones. It was my immediate family, the four of us, and my cousin Janet joined us. And so it was just one of those experiences where you really disconnect. And I feel like my analogy for this is like back to factory settings. It's like unplugged, reset to original factory settings. So what are your factory settings? What have I learned about Diane's factory settings? So if I strip away, the first phase was releasing, a lot of releasing expectations, releasing, what I thought I should be doing, releasing energy that wasn't serving me. So when I like let go of all that stuff and reset and came back to myself, I have these three categories of reset that I want to share with you. Try and do it in a 5-minute video, but it feels like a webinar, and there'll probably be a webinar coming around this. Okay, the first reset I want you to think about are priorities. A lot of people present in coaching with like overwhelm, and I need a time management system. And what I've come to learn that certainly helps me is actually we need a priority setting conversation. So I've gotten really clear this summer around some priorities that I am bringing back up to the top of the way I'm making choices and living my life. My health is now at the top of the list, and really taking care of my physical well-being, which feeds my mental and emotional well-being. So I've changed the way I'm eating. I've stopped drinking alcohol. I'm relaxing more and moving my body more. And that has been amazing. And I realized that I've really neglected that. But it's an identity that I hold. In James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, he talks about what is the identity that you want to embrace and live into, and do your habits support that identity? So I do feel like now my habits actually support that identity of being a healthy, active person. So I've aligned my habits with my priority and my identity of health. And that I can just feel that priority impacting all the other aspects of my life. So, priorities. What are your priorities going to be as September comes quickly? The second area of reset is to really connect to your values. What are your values, and how do those personal values drive your choices, drive your behavior? And so a couple of values I think I'd been kind of ignoring or neglecting. And one of those is connection. And so I've spent this summer reaching out and spending time with people that I value and that really fill me up, and rebuilding those connections. I've also been more connected to myself, which is always the starting place. So connection I think of as inward and with others. And the other value that I've been ignoring and not honoring is the value of freedom. I think I became an entrepreneur because I wanted freedom to do things in a way that worked for me, to do work that fills me up. And yeah, that value, I haven't really been honoring that value. So I'm looking at like, how can I create more freedom in my day-to-day? And so that's going to be an ongoing exploration. How can I bring in more freedom? So values, what are your personal values? Have you been neglecting some values? Are there some values you want to just pay attention to and lean into more and use those values as a decision-making criteria? And the third level of the reset is to reconnect to your strengths. Really understand your strengths. I've been deep in strengths this month because we've got some great client work we're doing that's bringing back the Strengths Finder, which is now Clifton Strengths. And so bringing these strengths tools to clients has just really got me re-energized around the idea that when we understand our strengths and we leverage them, we embrace them, we stop trying to be good at everything, and instead really hone in on, this is what I'm naturally gifted at. So I'm going to find a way to do more of that. Or I'm going to, tell my boss at work that this is actually what I'm really good at. How can we create opportunities for me to use these strengths more in my role? So I'm thinking about that. How can I bring my strengths and leverage my strengths more in my business, in my work with clients? And what can I let go of that might be things that, sure, I can do them, but they just don't actually fuel me, or I don't find them joyful. I often procrastinate on them. And so, I recognize I've got a fair bit of control around what I do and don't do. Well, and I have to remind myself of that. But what can you do around strengths? What could you bring more of into your role? Or what can you get support for? If you want to access your strengths, you can certainly purchase a strengths assessment through Gallup. Gallup.com has the Clifton Strengths Assessment tool, or you can certainly reach out to us and we will help you access a strengths-based strategy. So the reset back to factory settings has 3 layers. What are your priorities? What are your values, personal values? What do you want to sort of pay more attention to around your personal values and make decisions from there? And what are your natural strengths? And how can you put yourself in the strength zone more often, whether that's at work or in your personal life? How can you lean into strengths more? So I hope you enjoy thinking about how to reset your factory settings, which was really about just coming back to ourselves and really connecting to who we are and navigating life from that place. So let me know what you think about the reset and how it works for you. And I can't wait to be back with you next week where we talk about reimagining. All right, take care, friends.